Beloved in the Adventist Church, this is a very urgent message called a firm stand against the Pliant Aarons. A firm stand against the Pliant Aarons. Let's take from Patriarchs and Prophets, page 317. It says, how often in our day is the love of pleasure disguised by a form of godliness, a religion that permits men, while observing the rites of worship, to devote themselves to selfish or sensual gratification, is pleasing to the multitudes now and days of Israel. And there are still Pliant Aarons who, while holding positions of authority in the church, will yield to the desires of the unconsecrated and thus encourage them in sin. Now, beloved in the Adventist Church, there's a sad reality that in much of our Adventist churches today, there's a lot of praise teams where girls get up there and expose different parts of their body and they dance and have on the makeup and the mascara and the lipstick and the jewelry. And they're praising to ecumenical worship and all the worldly styles of ecumenical genres of music, beloved in the Adventist Church, and contemporary Christian music like the praise music in our churches. And they're dancing to it while dressing in modesty, beloved. We have many ordained pastors within the Seventh-day Adventist Church endorsing it and saying that when you preach against ecumenical worship and the new theology and the apostasy of the Jordan, and when you preach against the contemporary Christian music and the immodest dress, that you're causing division. You're causing division. There's leaders in our schools who grant degrees and pastors in our pulpits who are over churches telling young ministers that want to stand up for thus saith the Lord that are historic Adventists, that they're causing division for preaching against these things. And beloved, it's sad because they're Pliant Aarons in these last days that are endorsing the apostasy, beloved, and going down with the liberalism in the church, beloved. Sister White says in Review and Herald, 1886, June 8th, that these men are hedging up the way of the men that are sighing and crying for all the abominations that be done in the land. Beloved, unless we are putting away personal sin in our own life, putting away sexual sin, putting away pleasure madness, putting away worldly music and worldly entertainment, unless we're putting away sin out of our own lives and seeking to sigh and cry for all the sins that are done in the Seventh-day Adventist Church and for all the sins that are done in the world, beloved, having a plant-based diet, beloved. Unless we're doing this, beloved, we're not going to be sealed for these last days, beloved. We're going to be have the mark of the beast. If we're having false education, if we're trusting in the men that Amaziah trusted in, he gave all those thousands of dollars, beloved, Amaziah, to these men to protect him in war when he went off to fight against the heathen nation. And the prophet came to him and said, no, to wit, these men are worshiping golden calves, beloved. So, beloved in the Adventist Church, these Seventh-day Adventist ministers that are preaching this new theology, that are endorsing Jewry and contemporary Christian music and women's ordination, these men are worshiping golden calves, beloved. They're worshiping golden calves, beloved. And we, as true Seventh-day Adventist members and leaders, like Dr. O over at State Line, who's a present truth conference Seventh-day Adventist minister, and some of these ministers that are in self-supporting ministries, like Moses Mason's ministry and Jeremiah Davis and Marcus Mason's ministry and the Forerunner ministry. We as present truth ministers, beloved, in the Adventist Church, need to sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the land and in the church, beloved, and avoid these men. Mark those men that cause business in the church, and the Bible says avoid them so they can be ashamed of their doing. Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them, beloved, so they can be ashamed. They're in apostasy, beloved, and we need to reprove the apostate leadership of the church, the apostate Aarons in the church that are going down for sensual indulgence. According to Selected Message Book 1, Sister White says, chapter called Foundation for Our Faith, as a Sabbath to be lightly regarded, that books of the new order will be introduced, that a system of intellectual philosophy will be supplied, that it will be a cheap grace doctrine to be preaching, and they will try to do away with the structure, for storm and tempest to do away with the structure, to try to reorganize the church. And that's what they're doing now. You see right now, they will not listen to the Spirit's call in the 1880s to reorganized the church to a decentralized church in the 1880s under Ellen White's time. They are now giving more authority to the unions, and the unions are ordaining females as pastors over the General Conference now. Even the Worldwide Church voted against women's ordination. You see now in the Adventist Church, they're getting down with the worldliness that's coming into the church. And local conferences and churches and divisions are endorsing worldliness, and the General Conference can't do anything to stop it, beloved. She says, nothing shall be able to stand in the way of this new movement, beloved. And these pliant liberal Arians that are endorsing women's ordination, endorsing the use of meat eating in the church, endorsing the use of competitive sports, endorsing the use of dairy products in the Adventist Church, endorsing the use of Sunday sacredness, Sunday surge in the Adventist Church, endorsing the use of all of these apostate liberal things, and then telling me to shut up, or I'm not going to get my degree as an intern pastor in the Adventist Church, or get my degree so I can serve as a licensed pastor in the Adventist Church. They're trying to shut up and hedge my way, beloved. They're in apostasy, and they're going to be lost for trying to tell me not to sigh and cry. And I'm not going to shut up. I'm not going to shut my mouth to receive a degree from an institution that's in apostasy, beloved. I'm going to preach present truth, even if it costs me my degree, even if it costs me my reputation, and even if it costs me my life, beloved. I've been to the mountaintop, like Martin Luther King said on yesterday, and I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. God bless you, Maranatha.